Hello, listeners from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and all the corners of the world, and welcome to 21st Century Podcast, the show that discusses Philippine literature of 21st century. So for today's episode, we're going to talk about a Filipino poem entitled We Are Taught to Hold Back and Wait with your all-time favorite host, myself, Owen Roldan. We'll dissect the poem into different discourses and analyze the poem as a whole. Be sure to listen all the way through for a fun and not that boring discussion. Again, I am your host, Owen Roldan, and you were listening to 21st Century Podcast. We are taught to hold back and wait, however intense the need. We are even taught the prayers and manners of people of decency. Of course, it's nice to think we're civilized, even in the use of the right hand and the left. And it's nice to hear that at the very least, we're able to repay what our parents invested in us. But what old Cain's mark on our nape rules when vision blurs in anger, or lures us to the way of all flesh? Now, learn though we might be holding back, just the bladder about to burst drives us to face a wall, pissing like dogs. So, I have gathered some of your questions from social media about the poem We Are Taught to Hold Back and Wait. So, to start up, let us read the first one. From @Makata_me, what is the poem all about? Ooh, what a starting question. Okay, so listen up. I think the poem is all about how emotions could cloud our very decisions in life. How our extreme emotions and temptation to influence our choices in life. At the point when we decide to cover our sentiments, we act in a very unexpected way. However good and pure a person is, we cannot deny that everybody has monsters from within. There are instances in life that we are bursting out, and it is always valid. It will always be valid. I've been there, for sure you have been there. Everybody's been there. The point where you are at the brink of breaking down. Have you experienced crying at the corner of your room and you have no one to talk to, and things are pretty hard and you are extremely mad at everybody and you cannot control yourself? It's a sad reality that the most of us had experienced and is experiencing. Our emotions are very strong and we cannot fight it sometimes. However, this poem tells us that we should learn how to hold back and wait. Hence the title itself. We should wait for the appropriate and the right time to speak, and sometimes we need to control ourselves or to hold back. I think that's pretty it. I think I'm talking too much. Anyway, let's move on. From @Swifty09, who is the speaker of the poem and what kind of a person she or he is? Okay, so the author of the poem is Mr. Virgilio Almario, known for his pet name Rio Alma, who happens to be the speaker of the poem as well. Rio speaks from a perspective of a Filipino who knows the nature of a person. He knows that we are just like Cain, who has an aggression inside. Anger, madness, wrath, and rage. He's aware that even the goodest person alive has a dark side we never get to see. Moreover, the speaker also knows that we are being taught how to hold back our emotions and wait for the right time to speak. Hypothetically, we can conclude that the speaker is a kind of a person who is all-knowing and who is helpful and willing to enlighten his readers' minds. You know what? There is no specific and certain answer from this question. It depends on the perspective of the reader, whether he finds the speaker this or that. From Philippines underscore number 1. Ooh, I like the name. May I know to whom the speaker is speaking? So technically, the speaker is speaking most likely to the Filipinos. The poem mentions some of cultures that we Filipinos have, such as giving value to prayers, being religious, repaying our parents, and so on. The poem is addressed to us Filipinos to be enlightened that we should not let our emotions drive us as a person. However, this poem can address audiences other than Filipinos because the message of the poem is very broad and deeply relatable to majority in many ways. From at You Don't Know Me, what is the theme and also the tone of the poem? How is it achieved by the author? Good question, so let us start first with the tone of the poem. The tone of the poem is serious and most importantly realistic, wherein the poem mentions the reality of life without implicitly or explicitly sugarcoating some of it. It is realistic to the fact that it shows the human nature of aggression and bursting out due to uncontrolled drive of emotions. It was greatly achieved by Rio Alma by setting a serious ambience in the whole poem. The choice of words are undeniably immaculate to readers' perspective. Moreover, I suppose the theme of the poem we are taught to hold back and wait is emotions versus personal self. The poem tells us that one of the dilemmas of a living and rationalizing human being is battling with himself, which leads us to the final and last question of this episode. From at With the Youth, what is the purpose of the poem? In my personal opinion, the ultimate purpose of the poem is to enlighten each and every one of us that we should not let our emotions feed our ego and cloud our very decisions in life. It teaches us that we should learn how to wait for the right timing to speak and sometimes hold back. There are things that once true, you cannot redo it anymore. Broken glass that you cannot put back into one piece. Damages that you can no longer repair. As a human being, it is normal to burst out. It is valid. However, it doesn't equate to being right and justifiable. We need to control our emotions so that we cannot hurt other people who's just trying to help us. Learn to know the perfect timing to confront things. Learn how to feel for other people too. And so I think this was the purpose of the poem. This poem is indeed very vital to our lives. It teaches us how to not let our feelings interfere with our choices in life. For the last time, this is a masterpiece of Rio Alma. We are taught to hold back and wait. Finally, we are at the end of our short discourse. I hope everything is clear and don't forget to apply the lessons we have gathered from today's episode. If you have concerns, questions, or messages, just contact me via Facebook and Messenger. My ID, Owen Roldan. Our show hotline, 9500-775358. I'm afraid I already have to say goodbye. Remember, listeners, learn when is the right time to speak and when is the right time to listen. I am your favorite host, Owen Roldan, and you are listening to 21st Century Podcast.